Thanks for watching this replay of Award Travel 101 Live. My name is Richard Kerr, the founder of Award Travel 101, the original Facebook community dedicated to points and miles. Tonight we have a topic that should be near and dear to everybody's heart. I get asked this almost every day, 365, multiple times a day. How do I use my points and miles to get to Hawaii? Well, tonight we're going to tell you. As always, I have senior admin of Award Travel 101, Rachel Berkey, working very hard in the background, monitoring comments, making sure that your questions get to me here on my moderating document. And I'm excited. I'm ready to roll. If you're new to the group, one thing I always do, introduce my bourbon of the week. There are two things that I'm crazy about besides points and miles, bourbon and gummy bears, gummy confectionaries of all time. Tonight's bourbon, Rowan's Creek. 100.1 proof from Rowan's Creek Distillery in Bardstown, Kentucky. Michael gave that to me at our event on Saturday, which was in DC. What a great turnout we had at the Brig, a brand new outdoor beer garden. And I couldn't be more excited about the collaboration I did with Ashley Hightower of Cobalt Chronicles, a great style blogger here in DC. I love mixing it up a little bit. I love getting a fresh audience who's never heard points. When I started talking stopovers and open jaw maximizations, half the people at the beer garden were furiously taking notes, and the other half were just, what is this guy talking about? I'm not sure, but I know one thing, I've been doing it wrong. So as we get started tonight, tell me where you're tuning in from. I always love to see the reach of Award Travel 101. Eric, how's it going? Not too much here, you know, another day in the office. I got bourbon, I got notes, points and miles. We're going to talk about it. So with DC over and Houston over, the next in-person event where you're going to catch me is the Chicago Seminars, the premier gathering of points and miles enthusiasts. Largest one put together of the year, October 20th through the 22nd, 3 full days. We take over the Holiday Inn in Chicago. It's only points and miles, nerds, geeks, aficionados, more importantly, beginners. If you have no idea half of the things I'm about to say, then you need to be at Chicago Seminars. I'm speaking in multiple times and hosting several roundtables and discussions. Great time. I look forward to seeing you out there. Rachel is going to put the links to find out more about the Chicago Seminars in the comments. There it is right there. Love seeing everybody tune in. Somebody just tuned in from the great state of Georgia, my home state, the greatest state in the union. There's no argument about it. The Falcons were going to recover from what we just did in the Super Bowl and have a great year. Going through my notes here. All right, it's time to talk Hawaii. So a lot of people get intimidated. They think Hawaii is a foreign country. They think it's really, really far away. They think it's uber expensive. Don't let it intimidate you. No, Texas is not the greatest state. Sorry. What is it with you people from Texas? Like, go get your own country. Have you guys, seceded yet again? So don't let Hawaii intimidate you. There are a few things that you need to drill inside your brain, and that's going to allow you to learn everything else you need to know to get your points and miles, to get you and your family or your loved ones or your friends or just yourself to Hawaii. Number one, the legacy carriers, Delta, American, and United, are the last miles that you should redeem for flights to Hawaii. So let me say it again. Don't use Delta Sky Miles to fly to Hawaii. Don't use United Miles to fly to Hawaii. Don't use American Miles to fly to Hawaii. So if you're new to this, you're thinking, well, that's all of them. What do I do? I'm going to tell you. I'm going to go through those options one by one. I'm going to tell you how you can redeem flights from the U.S. to Hawaii without using those programs and get better value, pay less taxes, and in many cases have greater flexibility. So we're going to go through the airlines, and then we're going to switch over and go to hotels. So why should you not use American Miles to fly to Hawaii? Even in their off-peak dates, they're going to charge you 40,000 miles round trip from the U.S. to Hawaii. Rachel is going to put the link so that you can go and look at those off-peak dates. They're really random throughout the year. The good news is even when it's not off-peak, it's only 5,000 miles more expensive. So round trip in off-peak, American 40,000 in economy. When it's not off-peak, it's only 45,000. What you should do instead of using American miles is use British Airways Avios to fly American Airlines flights to Hawaii. If you've not had much experience with redeeming partner points to fly another airline, a lot of people get confused about this. I'm going to try and break it down very simply. British Airways and American Airlines are both in the One World Alliance. You can use American miles to book British Airways operated flights. The plane says British Airways, you get on a British Airways flights. Conversely, you can use British Airways Avios, their loyalty program, to book American Airlines operated flights. You go to your British Airways account, you log in, you search from Los Angeles to Honolulu on the British Airways engine. Flights that have availability show up. You redeem 12,500 Avios from the West Coast down to Hawaii, and only $5.60. So British Airways charges you 25,000 miles from the West Coast, any route less than 3,000 miles long, to fly to Hawaii round trip, whereas American Airlines, for that exact same American Airlines operated flight, will charge you 40 or 45,000 miles. So we want to use British Airways Avios to pay 25,000 miles round trip from places like Los Angeles, Phoenix, Seattle, and we don't want to use American miles. The other cool thing you can do with British Airways Avios is use them to book Alaska Airlines operated flights. The trick is Alaska Airlines operated flights do not show up on BritishAirways.com. You have to call in to the British Airways call center and request to find Alaska Airlines space that you can use British Airways Avios to book. What's even better about British Airways Avios is that there's no cancellation fee. You can cancel anytime up to 24 hours before that flight departs. So with American Airlines miles, if you book it and you pay more miles in the first place than Avios charges you, and then you have to cancel, you're going to pay at least a $75 redeposit fee per ticket to get those miles back. British Airways, you call, you forfeit the $5.60 taxes and fees, and that's it. So use British Airways Avios to book American Airlines or Alaska Airlines operated flights from the West Coast. Now remember, here's the trick, is any route less than 3,000 miles, and you can book it for 25,000 round trip. If you need a position, you can use another program. You can buy a cash ticket, or you just eat the $5.60 loss. Rachel's asking me, you lose the taxes and fees? Yes, that's right. You pay either $55 or you lose the taxes and fees, whichever is less when you cancel an Avios booking. So domestic bookings in the U.S. are $5.60. So you just forfeit that and you get your Avios back. All right. That is why you don't use American miles. You use British Airways Avios instead. Moving on to why you should never use Delta. Well, I'll tell you what. I don't know what Delta is going to charge you to fly to Hawaii, but it's going to be a lot of sky miles. There's no award charts published anymore, remember, for Delta. But if you want to fly those exact same Delta operated flights, you go to the Atlanta airport, the plane says Delta, it's a Delta flight. Don't use sky miles. Use Korean Airlines Sky Pass miles instead. So when I did a quick search today, Delta Airlines was asking what I found the best price, 52,500 miles for round-trip economy flights from the U.S. to Hawaii. I know it goes down to 45,000. My quick calendar search did not find that from Atlanta. So the cheapest I found was 52,500 miles, or if you want to fly Delta First Class, 140,000 miles round trip. Conversely, Koreans can only charge you 30,000 SkyPass miles round trip in economy, 60,000 round trip in business. So that is significant savings. Here's the trick. You have to find that lowest level of availability in order to book Delta with SkyPass miles. How do you earn SkyPass miles? You transfer them in from Chase. It's an easy day, and it's a done deal. Let me just check my notes real quick here. All right. So Korean SkyPass miles, easy transfer from Chase. You can also transfer in SPG points. You can also get the Korean SkyPass credit card from Bank of America. 30,000 round trip in economy, 60,000 round trip in business. You have to find Delta availability at the lowest level in order to book it with Korean miles. So it can be a challenge. Typically why I stay away from Delta and Korean altogether. There are just easier options out there like Avios. So don't use Delta miles ever use Korean, transfer from Chase, or the other options I mentioned are in Korean. Singapore Airlines is what you're going to use to book United flights. So do not use United Miles to book United flights. Use Singapore KrisFlyer miles in order to book United flights. So Singapore KrisFlyer is going to charge you 35,000 miles round trip in economy, 60,000 round trip in business. If you were to book those exact same United flights with United, you would pay 45,000 in economy or 80,000 in business. So exact same flight, but instead of paying 45 for economy, you're going to pay 35 KrisFlyer miles. Those are thousands. Instead of paying 80,000 United, you're going to pay 60,000 KrisFlyer miles. KrisFlyer miles are very easy to get. They're transfer partners of everybody. American Express, Chase, Citi Thank You Points, SPG. Really, really easy when you have all of those programs at your disposal to only get 35,000. And then you have to go to United.com. You look for the dates that have United Saver availability from the U.S. to Hawaii. Call up KrisFlyer miles after you've transferred your 35,000 miles in. Say, hey, I want to book this United flight I see is available at the Saver level on this day. They'll book it up. No taxes and fuels, no taxes and surcharges. Domestic flight. Done deal. Super easy. Saving miles to get to Hawaii. So that is going through the 3 legacy carriers very quickly. Haven't even had a sip of my bourbon. Rachel's putting up some really good links. Ooh, 100 proof. That's pretty good. Rachel's putting up great links that you need to review where we have it laid out in more detail. What I want to drive into you right now is do not use the legacy carrier programs to book flights to Hawaii. You still want to fly those flights, but you want to use partner programs that are going to allow you to save miles for round trip to Hawaii. So besides the legacy carriers, let's look at some other options. Hawaiian Airlines. Some people have the Hawaiian Airlines credit card. They actually have multiple versions, and you can end up with multiple thousands of Hawaiian miles. I think they're also a transfer partner of American Express. There's really no reason to use them. There's really no reason to collect Hawaiian miles, even if you live in Hawaii and that's what you fly all the time. You can credit them to other partners, but in case you're curious, at the lowest level, you can use 40,000 Hawaiian miles to fly a round trip from Hawaii to the U.S. Another option, another great option, another reason not to book Delta using Delta miles is to use Flying Blue, the SkyTeam loyalty program of Air France and KLM, in order to book Delta. It is only 30,000 miles round trip using Flying Blue to fly Delta from the U.S. to Hawaii. Disclaimer, here it is every time. You got to find that availability, and we're going to talk about that in a second. So just to recap, if you're brand new to Points and Miles, this partner relationship confuses a lot of people. You have to find Delta availability at the Saver, the lowest level, which is typically 45,000 miles that Delta charges their own partner, their own users, in order to use a partner program. So you look at the calendar view, they have a great 5-week flexible date search. Always use the flexible day search when you're on Delta.com. Find the days that are going to charge you 45,000 miles. Bingo, you can now use 30,000 Flying Blue miles to fly that exact same Delta flight. You don't transfer the Flying Blue miles to Delta. You don't call Delta and say, I want to use Flying Blue miles. You go to flyingblue.com, you go on the award search calendar, and you book it all through Flying Blue. You never talk to Delta, you never call Delta, you never transfer anything to Delta. It's all done through Flying Blue. 30,000 miles round trip. Award Travel 101 bonus tip of the night. Here's what you're not going to hear about anywhere else or read it very often. Flying Blue considers the Caribbean, so my right, your left, the Caribbean, Central America, and Hawaii to all be in the exact same region. That's right. They think if you fly from the Caribbean to Hawaii, it's the exact same region, and they charge very few miles. So what does that mean? Flying Blue allows stopovers on round-trip itineraries. If you can get yourself down to the Caribbean on another ticket, buy a one-way ticket, fly Southwest to the Caribbean, start a Flying Blue itinerary from the Caribbean. You can go, say, St. Thomas, back to the U.S., wherever your home is, have a stopover. 6 months later, pick up that ticket. Hey, Ben, how's it going? Go from your home down to Hawaii, enjoy Hawaii as the destination, and then fly from Hawaii back to the Caribbean and enjoy a second Caribbean. And it all costs 30,000 miles. That's right. Caribbean, stop over in your hometown 6 months later, go down to Hawaii, fly back to the Caribbean, enjoy the Caribbean twice, enjoy Hawaii, have a stopover at your home, 30,000 miles. Everybody watching this can get 30,000 Flying Blue miles while you sneeze. They're partner transfer partners of everybody. Absolutely incredible. Yeah, that's right, Sarah. What? Yeah, welcome to War Travel 101. All right, so moving on from Flying Blue, one thing you need to know, inter-island flights. If you want to hop around islands, what is the easiest way to do that? There's essentially a monopoly in the islands. You got to pay for Hawaiian Airlines. You can maybe fly some of the smaller airlines, some of the smaller little prop aircraft that they fly around, and it can be a little bit expensive. So you want to use miles to fly inter-island. So for 3,000 Virgin America miles, which is, not very many more Alaska miles right now, you can fly inter-island flights on Hawaiian Airlines. That's it. 3,000 Virgin America points. You're booking Hawaiian Airlines flights, flying in between the islands for free. I've been asked what the bourbon of the night was. Rowan's Creek, right here, Kentucky distilled, Bardstown, Kentucky. It's 100.1 proof. It's got a little kick to it, I'm not going to lie. That's from Michael, who brought it to me in D.C. Thanks, Michael. All right, so inter-island flights covered. One more thing Rachel reminded me of tonight. Hey, keep an eye on Southwest. Remember, I think it's going to happen that the new 737 MAX that Southwest has some orders for, it's only a matter of time until they announce these Hawaii routes coming. And, wow. I am so curious to see what those intro fares are going to be. I really hope they don't exclude the companion pass for routes to Hawaii. That would be pretty evil, and I don't see them doing that by any means. It's not really in Southwest lifeblood, but keep an eye on Southwest and those announcements. I expect the announcement to come at the very end of this year with a mid-2018 start fly date. I think there's some landing slot competitions at the airports. These airports aren't very big down there. Everybody wants to go to Hawaii, but keep an eye on Southwest. A lot of good questions. I'm going to hit a few of these real quick. Remember, Rachel, my senior moderator, is here all night. She's keeping track of your questions. I got a nifty little thing off to my side where I can see your questions so I don't lose them in the comments. Ask questions. I'm going to answer as many as I can. Sorry, Brian asked about the bourbon, not Ben. So Simon says, yeah, family of 4 flying Delta to Hawaii for Thanksgiving, booked through Flying Blue for $120,000. Open jaw options are great. Excellent score, Simon. Thanks for sharing that. That's right. Delta would charge you a minimum of $180,000, and you're just not going to find that. My wife joined. I better be on my best behavior. Hey, Emily. So Karen says, back to Avios for a minute. If I find a 17,500 Alaska mile one way to Hawaii, does that mean BA will open for Avios? Great question. How do you find Alaska space online that you can call and book? I don't have a good answer for that. Because British Airways and American are not in the One World Alliance with Alaska, that does not mean they have the same availability open to them as a non-alliance member. You just have to call and find out. That's the easiest way with Alaska. All right, Carrie says, I'm curious about first or business hard product to Hawaii. United First was horrible a few years back. Yeah, so don't splurge, in my opinion, for first or business class to Hawaii, with a couple of exceptions. So if you're going to be flying United from Newark to Hawaii nonstop, if you're going to fly from Atlanta to Honolulu nonstop on Delta, try and look at your best options for booking those with the partner programs. In my experience, you're not going to find saver availability readily open that is able to be booked with partners. So I just don't think it's worth splurging. The one exception may be the new Lie Flat product on American from Dallas and Los Angeles. But again, if you're flying from the West Coast to Hawaii, you're talking 5.5 hours. You're not going to sleep. It's not really worth it. If you're flying all the way from Dallas, Emily and I have this booked for January. New 777 Lie Flat product. It's about a 10-hour flight, maybe a little bit shorter. That's probably worth it. And if you have a bunch of American miles, it could be readily available. Besides that, just don't worry about it. You're not getting lounge access. Something to remember, though, is if you're flying in the back, these are considered straight domestic flights, meaning no meal service, right? You're not getting food in economy. If you're flying business, you're not getting lounge access. As far as the airlines are concerned, a 30-minute domestic flight and a 12-hour flight down to Hawaii are the same. I don't know why they do this. It's terrible. Bring some food, bring some snacks, bring some water. You know, you're going to Hawaii. Don't worry about the flight. Just make sure you get it for free. Okay, I'm going to move on. Wow, time's getting away from me. A lot to cover. Almost 100 people live. That's what I'm talking about. I know you guys and gals are interested about this. So we've got the prices covered for award flights. How do you find availability? I got a family of 4 that wants to go to Hawaii. I look and I don't see anything available. Here's the key to finding availability to Hawaii. You're looking at the wrong routes. Everybody looks at the route from Los Angeles to Honolulu. Everybody looks at the route from Phoenix to Honolulu. Everybody looks at San Francisco to Honolulu. You're forgetting about the other airports that you have to check and the routes that they fly that you don't even know about that I'm about to drop on you right now. So when you call British Airways to find Alaska Airlines availability, they're going to say, yep, there's 4 seats available because nobody asks about this, right? So remember, besides Honolulu, there are flights back to the mainland from Kona, airport code Kilo Oscar Alpha. Maui, airport code Oscar Golf Golf. Yes, so OGG, Maui, nothing in common there. Just remember that. It can trip you up a little bit. And then Kauai, airport code LIH, Lahui Airport. So KOA, OGG, LIH is where you want to start looking for availability, not H&L. Everybody looks for H&L. Everybody books H&L. There are a lot more routes that you're going to find availability on, and I'm going to tell you some of them right here. Before I do that, best tip, and Rachel's going to put the links here in the comments. If you want to know what airlines fly to an airport, the best place you can go is the Wikipedia page for that airport. That's right. If you want to know what airlines fly to any airport in the world, go to the Wikipedia page. There's always a subsection halfway down that says airlines and destinations. It is up to date. People keep it up to date. Right there, you just put the Kona one, airlines and destinations, and you're going to go, wait a minute. From Kona, I can fly Delta to Seattle. Didn't know that. Probably would have never searched that route. That's because nobody else is searching it, and that's why you're going to find availability. So let's go through a few of the obscure routes that you want to know about to find availability. On Alaska Airlines, Oakland to Kauai, fly Alaska Airlines, 12,500 Avios. San Jose to Kauai, 12,500 Avios. Sacramento to Maui, OGG, remember that airport code, 12,500 Avios. Portland to Maui on Alaska Airlines, 12,500 Avios. Right, so think about those routes. On United, Denver to Kauai, San Francisco to Kauai, Chicago to Maui, Denver to Kona. How many of you have searched Denver to Kona saver availability space? Go ahead. Yeah, none. You haven't because you didn't know they flew that route, and that's why you're going to find that availability. All right, going over to Delta, Seattle to Kauai, Salt Lake City to Maui. How many of you searched Delta space, Salt Lake City to Maui? That's right. I don't want to hear any more. I can't find availability. It's because you're not searching these routes right here. Salt Lake City to Maui starts this September, I believe. Los Angeles to Kona on Delta, Seattle to Kona on Delta. When you go to American Airlines, don't forget about Phoenix to Kona. Don't forget about Phoenix to Maui. Don't forget about Dallas to Maui. Right? So those are the ways that you find availability, by going through some of those routes that I just said that none of you have searched. The Wikipedia page is awesome. Use it all the time. I see a conversation here in the comments I want to address real quick. If you want to reposition, you got to be super careful about this, right? So if you are booking a 25,000 Avios round trip ticket from the West Coast, but you live in Chicago, you got to get from Chicago to the West Coast to start your itinerary. If you do not allow yourself sufficient time and you miss that connection, you're on separate tickets and you're pretty much, you're a little bit screwed. So you always want to give yourself way more time than you ever thought you would need in case there's a snowstorm in the winter in Chicago, in case there's, forest fires in California that shut the airport down for a day. You got to monitor the weather. You got to look at what's going on. You got to give yourself, in my opinion, at least an overnight on the West Coast so that you can make that flight to Hawaii when you're on separate tickets no matter what. It is not the airline's responsibility to make sure you make that connection if you're on separate tickets. Don't put it on them. Give yourself plenty of time. Okay, I wanted to address that real quick. Airlines That's a lot of information right there. Go back, watch it, get your pen and paper. Look at all these notes I make every time I'm about to do one of these shows for you guys and gals. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of information, but this is how you empower yourself to get your family down to Hawaii and you don't break the bank. Look how easy it is. We're talking minuscule miles, and we're talking routes that you hadn't thought about that have saver availability on them to book with partner airlines and get down to the great place of Hawaii. You know what? I'm going to tell you a secret right now. I can't stand Honolulu. I can't stand that airport. I don't like the beach. I don't ever want to see that island again, and I'll tell you why. So I'm currently in the Navy. My first duty station was the USS Kentucky ballistic missile submarine out of Washington State, really far away. We used to come on deployments, and our job is to hide with pride, right? We go, we're quiet, nobody knows where we are. We don't ever have to come up. We make our own air, we make our own water, but occasionally we need some food. So we would cruise on over through the Pacific doing our deal. We would pop up outside of Hawaii. We would cruise into Pearl Harbor. They would tie 2 tugs up, spin us around. They would bring on some food. They would bring on some new guys whose time it was up would go away. We'd go right back out Pearl Harbor, right underneath Honolulu International Airport, and boop, we go right back down. So after 75 days of only seeing the inside of a submarine, I stand topside and I see Honolulu, I see Waikiki for 30 minutes. It's within touching distance. And we go right back out to sea, boop, back down underwater, and it's just pure torture. So I don't like you, Honolulu. I don't want to go anymore. We're going to go over to a different island next time. That's why I can't stand Honolulu. Story time. There you go. All right, so moving into hotels, I'm crushing my time limit. Sorry, Rachel. I know you're probably going crazy. But let's talk about hotels real quick. Not near as difficult as airlines. I'm going to give you one website that's about to rock your world if you haven't heard about it. www.awardmapper.com. Awardmapper.com. Wonderful tool that you go to. You zoom in on a world map to Hawaii, and it shows you every single hotel that you can book with any of the main loyalty programs points. It tells you what the program is, tells you what the property is, what category it is, and how many points it costs per night. So in one snapshot, and Rachel just put the link in the comments, you see how many points it costs to stay at any number of properties in Hawaii, and you can start planning. So, hey, I really love Hyatt. I'm a Hyatt guy. You guys should know that by now. Hyatt Globalist. You can stay at the Waikiki Hyatt Place. I'm not staying there. For 12,000 points a night. If you want to experience Waikiki, you can do that. And the best part is, as an award night, you don't have to pay the silly resort fee when you're staying on Hyatt award nights, right? So 40, 50 bucks a night? Nope. I'm using points, no resort fee. And then you can go and stay at some incredible properties like the Andaz Maui, the Maui Hyatt Regency, the Grand Hyatt Kauai, for anywhere between 20 or 25,000 points a night. Remember, you can transfer Chase Ultimate Rewards into Hawaii, easily book those free nights, avoid those silly resort fees that, man, we really need to lobby Congress to get rid of, but I think they have a lot on their plate right now besides resort fees, unfortunately. So those are your Hyatt options. Besides that, if you got a lot of Hilton points, I know it requires a lot of Hilton points, but it's actually not as bad as you would think in Hawaii. It's pretty easy to get a lot of Hilton points between all the different credit cards that they offer, free weekend night certificates, anniversary night certificates, 5th night free when using Hilton points. Go to awardmapper.com, pick out which island you want to go to, and you're really not going to go wrong in Hawaii. They're not going to stay in business if they're a terrible hotel. If you're going to use points, you're not staying at a lower end hotel, so you don't have to worry about that. Just do your research. Go to TripAdvisor, ignore all the angries, pick out the common threads, right? Everybody here knows how the right way to read TripAdvisor. You don't read the first review and then go, oh, that's a terrible property. You read several pages of reviews and pick out, hey, 5 out of the last 10 have mentioned the carpet's worn. The carpet's probably really worn. You know, it's not just an angry like that. So, awardmapper.com. I'll also encourage you to check out Airbnb. Really, really wonderful Airbnbs in Hawaii now. Remember, you can earn Delta Sky Miles when booking Airbnb. You can typically find Airbnb gift cards for sale at a discount at websites like cardpool.com, cardcash.com, or gyft.com. Save yourself some money. Wyndham properties. There are 3 Wyndham properties, only one of which I would really recommend you stay at. 15,000 points a night, like every Wyndham in the world now. Really easy to get some free Wyndham nights, worthy of a mattress run with the current promotion. And then something that you guys and gals really like asking about lately are the timeshare presentations. Hey, I think we've all gotten a call for go get your 6-night stay with a rental car in a suite for $399. You just need to come and hear our timeshare presentation. So if you're confident in your abilities to say no, these really are some great deals. Hyatt puts them out, SPG puts them out, Hilton puts them out. You just have to stick to your guns. You do have to go to the presentation. You have to be able to say no, and then you just go off and enjoy your time. A lot of successful reports in the group of this lately, a lot of questions asking about it. I don't see anything wrong with it as long as you know that you can say no. Somebody just said Navy Gateway Inn and Suites. That's right, Pearl Harbor. Actually not a bad spot, not for everybody here. So a lot of questions. Hotels aren't bad. I stayed at a Wyndham on Waikiki, whatever, it's just, you got to go check it out once, I guess, but Grand Hyatt Kauai booked with a confirmed suite upgrade for January. Hey, Claire Oliver's in Maui right now. Why are you watching this? You're there. Go. I mean, I'm never going to tell anybody to leave my show, but get out of here. Like, that's awesome. Hey, a ton of questions. So let me go here and see what Rachel's got for me. So Sarah says, what about Spirit Airlines? Not doing it. More power to you if Spirit ever starts flying to Hawaii. Karen says, I need to write an article about all the city pairs. That's a good idea. I'll put it on my list. I always have a running list yay big about, posts I need to write. So Heather says, Hawaii seems unreachable now. I'm getting excited that it's possible. Heather, rewatch this video 12 times. Get your notepad, write down everything I said, do some research, click the links. Rachel says, it is so doable. It is so reachable. You don't even have to try that hard. So Melissa says, when you use Korean Air, can you only use 45,000 mile seats on Delta, not 52.5 thousand? That is a correct statement. You have to find the lowest label, which we think is 45,000 miles, in order to book it with Korean SkyPass miles. What are the questions we have here? We talked about repositioning. Sarah talks about no food on the flight. Remember, these airlines keep these things domestic. They're not giving you food. You can be hungry for 5.5 hours if you don't have time to prepare for that. Mike says, I've been mapping out a pretty sweet route on United, Hawaiian, Chicago, Maui, Kauai, Chicago, 45,000 round trip. That's right. Remember the stopover and open jaw rules that are allowed by some of these airlines. Curious how you're booking that intra-island flight. Does United still fly that intra-island Maui to Kauai flight? I think they have like a code share deal with Hawaiian or something like that. Somebody let me know. Actually, you can use United miles to fly Island Air. That's right. Yeah, you can redeem 6,000 United miles to fly Island Air intra-island there. So Ethan says Delta gives you a free meal in economy from Atlanta to Honolulu. That's awesome, but you're never going to find that available at the Sabre level, and Delta's going to charge you some obscene number of miles to fly that nonstop route. Carrie says open jaw things hurt my brain. That's better than hurting your jaw, I guess. I don't know. That's a pretty lame joke. All right, that's a lot of information. We're at 33 minutes. I try and keep it at 30 minutes. Thanks, everybody, for hanging around. We've been hovering right around 90 the entire time. We're going to get to 100 next week. Remember all the things coming up. Thursday, bourbon and Q&A, right? Hey, thanks again to Michael. Rowan's Creek is my bourbon this week from Bardstown, Kentucky, 100.1 proof. Absolutely delicious. It's got something to it. I really like that. Chicago seminars, October 20th through the 22nd. We put the links up earlier about how to find the information. I'm speaking a couple times, and I'm hosting a roundtable. We got some things cooking for November that are going to be announced very soon that I'm very excited about. I've got 6 weeks left in the Navy, and then, I get to go somewhere without somebody saying you got to be back by 06:30 or we're going to eat you. That's pretty excited about that. This video is always available for replay on the Award Travel 101 page, not the group, the page. Facebook makes it a little confusing. Besides that, thanks everybody for tuning in. I love this group. Love you guys. Please consider supporting us. Get your next rewards earning credit card via the link in the pinned post, for which I will receive a commission if you are approved. This is how I get to do what I love for a living. I hope this information is helpful. Rachel, thanks as always. She's the glue holding this thing together, and we'll catch you guys around the group. See you later.